Hey guys, I'm Ashley DeFrank and I'm here with Kayla Johnson, and today we're going to be talking about the recent Taylor Williams case that surfaced over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, okay, so Taylor Williams is a 5-year-old girl, and on November 6th, her mother, Brianna Williams, she called JSO and she reported Taylor missing. And, normal standard procedure, they get crews out and they're looking for this girl, and eventually there's an Amber Alert put out. Now, the problem is, as police are investigating, they start seeing inconsistencies with Brianna's story. They question her about it, and the weird thing is, she then stops cooperating. And it's like, if you're a mother and you've done nothing wrong and the police are questioning you to best try to find your child, why would you stop cooperating?
Right, and like her original statement to police was she talked about her daughter had been in the bed the night before and that she
Mm-hmm.
just woke up and she was gone. And so, you would kind of think that as a parent, um, if your daughter is missing, you would do anything to help with that investigation, and she's just kind of
Exactly. And by
trailed
not
off.
cooperating, you're hindering the investigation, and that's the first thing. But there is a number of things wrong with this case. And okay, for example, Brianna, she put out a Craigslist ad because she recently moved from her apartment on the south side. She moved to the Brentwood area. She put out a Craigslist ad saying that she urgently needed help moving out of her apartment and she needed to move quickly. And that's fine. She got some responses. She had help. Now, the people who helped her move, they said in the entire 45 minutes that they were there, they did not see or hear a child. And when they asked about it, Brianna told them that Taylor was in the bathroom and they could hear the water running. Now, maybe many of you don't know, but I have little cousins that are really young and I have a niece, and children that young just don't sit still and they're not quiet for that long. That's really odd. Like, even, kids don't listen even if you tell them, "Hey, sit here, don't make any noise, be good, be quiet." Children at that age, they don't do that. That's very, very odd.
Well, and they even told police that they while they were helping the Williams move, they even moved a toddler bed, which that shows the presence of a child, but even the size of the bed being a toddler size age, and it just doesn't fit the age.
Yeah, like 5-year olds aren't really in toddler beds anymore. Like, they're right at that point where they're just too big for a toddler bed. So that looks a little off too. And Nicole, one of the people helping Brianna move, she said the strange thing that was off to me was she told my fiance there was a daughter in the bathroom and he heard water running, but we never saw a child. Like, they said there was no indication of a child. There weren't any toys, there weren't any clothes, there was just the bed. Now, even the poorest of people, it doesn't matter if you're single mom or what. Everyone, when they have a child, they might not have toys, but there's no children's clothing. The actual child's never seen or heard. Like, that's really weird. And then they found biohazard bags outside of the apartment. Like, normal people, you don't just keep those on hand. Like, that's very, very odd.
Even her car was reported just kind of like disappearing, and
Yeah,
it's a newer model, so it's 2017 model.
yeah, and nothing was reported wrong with it. So, like, who ditches a perfectly fine car if they have nothing to hide? So fast forward a few days, and now a neighbor's coming out. No one has been able to confirm that they've seen this child in weeks and months. A neighbor finally comes out and he says that he saw the last time he saw Taylor Williams was on May 21st. Now that's 5 months ago. And he said even then that it was under very strange conditions, that she was often alone, wandering around, and she looked sad, and she always had on the same pair of pajamas. Now that is just that doesn't that's just something is very wrong. That's not normal behavior. Even if you're a single mother, people just know she's too young. No one leaves their 5-year-old alone, no matter how mature that child is. 5-year-olds should not be left alone that often. And that's part of her charges. The case is still active, the investigation is still ongoing, but Brianna Williams has been charged with child neglect and giving false information to the police because she's been caught in a number of inconsistencies and lies. So she's been charged, and her bond is set at $1 million. Now, the problem is that when the news was released that Taylor's remains had possibly been found in Linden, Alabama, which is where Brianna is from. When that news dropped that those remains were possibly Taylor's, Brianna, she was found and she had overdosed. It looks like an apparent suicide, and till today she is still in the hospital. But if and when she gets better, she will be going to jail. Now, we don't know this yet, but me personally, I definitely 100% believe that this is a case of filicide. Now, for those of you who don't know, filicide is when a parent kills their child, when a mother or father kills their child. And I hate to say it, but that's what this looks like to me. It's suspicious all around. And even if she did not, her specifically, if she did not do something to that child, I believe she knows who did, or there was some kind of accident that she was just too afraid to admit. And I think that something foul play has definitely been in the mix here.
Another thing that's really interesting about filicide, um, in a article written by Susan Hatters Friedman and Philip J. Resnick in the Psychiatric Times in 2015, actually found and reported that about 15% of all murders are actually filicides.
Yeah, I into it too. And they said CNN reported that on average 500 children are killed by their parents every year. And they say almost 72% of those 500 children that are killed by their parents are under the age of 6. And a third of those victims are just babies. They're infants, they're under the age of 1.
And you never really think about just this whole concept of filicide. It's just something that I feel like a lot of people just feel like would never really ever happen. But actually, in the same article that I referenced earlier, um, the authors actually found that the rate of child murder in the U.S. is greater than in other developing countries, which in and of itself is very interesting to think that it's more prevalent in somewhere here like the United States than it is in developing countries.
Yeah. And I personally I don't use this as an excuse because I can't support it, but there are a lot of people out there who just they support the idea that filicide is a mental health issue. And I I just still can't fathom the thought of someone killing their own children. But Dr. Timothy Mariano, he says that it really is a big thing that people, especially single mothers, are just they're stressed out and they kind of resent their children. So that leads to this kind of issue. And I feel like if that is the case, that just leads back to us not we don't take mental health seriously enough. Like it's such an ignored topic, but it's such a real thing. It's a real problem with the suicide rates, this filicide, homicide. Like people are out here doing crazy things because of their mental health, and we need to talk about it more.
I think another interesting thing about this, other than just the actual or possible act of filicide committed in this recent case, is when you go on, you think about what's happened after the possibility of William's daughter's remains being found and how she had, it's reported that she had attempted to take her own life
Yeah,
by
that
overdosing. And so that just further, really, I feel like pushes the
that
importance
narrative.
of mental health,
Yeah.
and just how much it can actually affect someone and affect their actions.
I mean, I agree. Like if that were the case, I mean, we don't really know the status of Brianna right now. We know that she's still in the hospital after an apparent overdose, but it's just if mental health is really the underlying issue here, two lives could have been better lived out if there were just someone that attention was brought to it, and especially for people in the military, because Brianna Williams is active military. So I feel like it's definitely something we need to be talking about. And, we'll definitely get back into more of this later. But for now, that is all the time we have. And thank you for listening. This is Kayla Johnson and Ashley DeFrank, and we'll see you later.